Hey guys, my name is Philip and this is my wood shop, and I just wanted to share a video with you real quick about this table that I'm building, and really more about the leg. So this leg has a 3-degree splay in both directions. It's going in 3 degrees. Originally in the design for the client, I just had these going at 90. I changed it as I started actually making it. I decided to tilt it in. I just like how that looks. It gives it a more grounded feel. It just really appeals to me, and I tend to tilt in legs and sides of cabinets and stuff quite often. In the background, I have a china cabinet here that has the same deal, the sides angle in also. Makes things a little more complicated. In that case, the drawer sides and stuff are now angled. In this case, the shoulders and stuff are not at 90 degree anymore, so it's a little hard to tell. But in this video, but right here, these shoulders, instead of going across at 90, these guys are going at about 3-degree angle on it. So yeah, it makes it more complicated, but I really think it's worthwhile. I love the way it looks. I hope my client does too. So this video is just going to show you how I made the leg from template to prototype leg to a quick jig to help me make multiple of them. Since I made 8, originally I was just going to be making one of these tables. In that case I wouldn't bother making a jig, but since I made 8 of them and I really like the way it looks and I hope to make it again, I made a jig just to make things safe, fast and accurate to do this leg. So I hope you find this video useful, and I really appreciate you watching. Cheers. So I decided that for this project I'm working on right now, for the table legs, I'm going to make a jig to make the legs. Originally I made the template, and I was just going to use the template as some double-stick tape, just lay it down on a leg and then flush trim it, and good to go. However, there's 8 legs, so that's going to end up being like 16 times I have to put this on and off, and I hope that I use this again one day. So it's going to take about 30 minutes to make a jig. So by using this template and some 3/4 inch plywood, I'm going to make a jig similar to the ones I have here. Real simple, but works great. It's just a cradle with the profile on the outside. The leg goes in, and then that way you ride the bottom bearing, a flush trim bit, and just ride this along it. Flip it over and ride it, take it out, put your next one in. Now I will say this only works well if you just barely leave the line when you bounce throughout the leg. So it's got about 1/64 if not less when you flush trim. Especially since in one direction you're going to be going uphill on the cut, so you're going against the grain. I've never had a problem with it, but the reason for that is like I said, I cut very close to the line. So I've used this many times before. There's another one for doing a different type of leg, and this is a little double tapered leg for a bench, and it just works really well. So the way I make it, obviously I have my first template, so my master template. I rip a piece of plywood. In this case it's 3/4 inch. Usually I would use a 1/2 inch Baltic birch. I'm going to make one piece exactly the same width as my template, and the second piece is going to be the width of my template plus the thickness of the plywood. So when you put this together, your legs can go in like so, and that will make the template or the jig. So the way you set this up is I'm going to flush the front of these 2 pieces of plywood. Going to get my template, flush it to the back, so you're making this sandwich here. Double stick tape this all together, go to the bandsaw, cut away the waste, flush trim it, and then once it's done you just flip it up, screw it together, put a couple of caps on the end, leg will go in like so, and you should be able to flush trim. So I'll get this made and I'll show you once I have it made and how I like to use it. So here I'm checking the blanks, the leg blanks with my template that I've already made out of 1/4 inch MDF. I'm also using a 1/4 inch blade for this particular operation. Typically I would use a 3/4 inch blade, definitely with this broad radius. The wider the blade works just better for big radiuses. You can ride off the back of the blade, that works really well. So I'm always looking ahead of the blade, trying to plan ahead and use my hand here just to ride along, kind of like a pivot fence. You want to, just be very steady as you do this. And towards the end, you want to do it very, swiftly. You don't want to hesitate, especially with this tight radius. You can really mess it up. It definitely takes a little bit of practice, but a 1/4 inch blade, it always amazes me what a nice job it can do. So now that I've cut the first face, I'm going to go ahead and use some blue tape to tape it back on. This will allow me to cut the second face. Basically this piece of wood will let my leg, the top of my leg be parallel to the table and make it possible for me to finish the cut. It really only takes a couple pieces of tape. We're going to end up cutting through it, and then at the end we just throw them away. At the beginning you want to start real slow, let that blade get into the cut, and then you just want to be very steady and smooth, kind of one motion as you go through. Again, applying a little bit of a lateral pressure to the blade, trying to ride the back of that blade. It's a little more tricky with a 1/4 inch blade, and then using my hand as a pivot fence just to help guide me through the cut. So now the fun part, you break away the waste pieces, and there it is, the leg completed, well, almost completed. Next we need to flush trim it. So here's a closer look of me making these legs. As you can see in the background, just to be more efficient, I've already cut all one face, taped it back on, and now I'm cutting the second face. You really want to try to just leave the line. If you can still see the pencil line, just barely, you have enough for the flush trim bit. So making the jig now, since I'm making 2 of these tables, I decided to take the time to make this jig. Double stick tape works great. This stuff, I think it's called spec tape. It's not the spongy turning tape they make. And also carpet tape just doesn't work very well. This stuff has amazing adhesive quality, so just a few pieces and that's all it takes. I also like to use a little X-Acto knife, one to cut the tape of course, and the second is to just help peel off the paper backing. It works really well. So of course you want to make sure the surface is nice and clean, there's no dust before you go stick this down. And then apply some pressure. Now I'm going to attach the 1/4 inch MDF in the same manner. This is just to make the package, to be able to make this jig. Again, you do not want to put too much of this tape. You could have a really hard time getting this apart if you do. There's the package. So of course I already went to the bandsaw and cut off the waste. So now I'm using my flush trim bit. It's a 3/4 inch diameter. The bigger diameter the bit, the better cut you're going to get. This guy came from a company called Tools Today. It's got a share cut, so 2 blades and they have a share cut, so those blades are at an angle. Works really well. And you know, if you're cutting really close to the line, so you're not having to remove too much, it's pretty amazing what you can do with this this type bit, even against the grain. I've had a lot of luck with it. Alright, so I've got the jig made. Pretty simple. So now it's just a matter of putting the leg in there and popping a screw in each end. So I'm going to put this one in. Alright, so now I'm ready to flush trim. I have a bottom bearing on. It was actually it's a 2 flute with a share cut, top and bottom bearing. I took the top bearing off. So what's going to happen is, because this bit's not long enough to cut this entire piece, at least up in here, it's going to do a rabbet up in a portion of this, and then it's going to cut the rest of this just fine. I'll do that to all of them, and then I'll raise this bit up, and the bearing on the bottom here will now, the second time round, will actually run off the leg itself and just clean up that last little bit. So no big deal. So there it is. Does a pretty nice job, and as you can see up in here, It's left that little extra piece here. You could take care of that by hand, but since I'm doing 8 of these, I'll go ahead, I'll get them all done to this stage first and raise this bit up. It looks like about 3/4 of an inch. That way the bearing will ride off the actual leg itself, and it just take care of it very quick. Okay, so I did my last one in the jig. Now I can just put this jig to the side for next time. And this last little bit that's hanging on here, about 3/4 worth, I've raised up my my cutter, my bit about 3/4, and now this bearing is going to ride off the actual leg itself. It's going to ride along and finish up that last little bit. There it is. One leg completed. A little bit of sanding, and it's ready to go. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, how to make a double tapered curved leg. This is going to be for the dining table I'm working on right now. And as always, please hit that like button, subscribe, and tell your friends. Hope you found something in this video useful, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time. Thanks.